Welcome back to another episode with ByrdAdatto. As we continue to go through this crisis, we have spent a lot of time giving you all different point of view on the legal issues that are happening. But the one thing we do know is that a lot of you are going through issues that a lot of times you might not think of your attorneys to help you with. And what we thought is we've had this guest before, and he brought some great insight of things that you should be considering besides legal implications. And so Robin Pou, which is joining us today, and Michael's going to do the great job of introducing him again.
So those who didn't hear last time, Robin is a longtime friend, and we've been doing business together almost our entire careers in many different formats. Robin is what he would say a recovering attorney who has been a executive for businesses before opening his own business and becoming an advisor and a strategist. And Robin is and has been the chief advisor and strategist for ByrdAdatto almost since we opened. And we brought Robin to you guys a few weeks ago because what's really compelling is that he is having conversations with leaders around the country right now who are all experiencing different and yet similar things with COVID-19, and he's able to kind of find these commonalities and share a perspective that is unique and maybe pulls us kind of out from, being in the forest with the day-to-day battles. So, Robin, with that, love to hear your thoughts for today.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Brad, for having me again. I just want to talk to you leaders who are watching this particular episode. First and foremost, kudos to ByrdAdatto for caring not only about your legal health, but also about your leadership health. And this pandemic has presented issues that most of the leaders that I work with who rely on me as their chief advisor and strategist, they've never seen this before. So in the time that I've had this firm helping those leaders perform their best when it matters most, never have all the leaders that I've been working with experienced the exact same thing at the exact same time. So what I want to do for the next 5 minutes or so is bring to you those conversations with the leaders that I'm having across the country. Because they're experiencing the same thing at the same time, their leadership experience during the pandemic is the same, regardless of the industry, the size of the business, or even the life cycle of the business. And so the conversations that I'm having with them are directly relevant to you and your leadership position right now. And so I want to review, what do we know? First, what we know is that this will be over. Second, we also know that on any downturn, on the other side of it, there's huge opportunity. This is a historical fact. So take 9/11 or the crash in 2008. Incredible businesses that we now know of as household brands got their start on the other side of downturns like this. So if that's what we know, what are we going to do with it? For you specifically as the leader of your business, you have to decide if you're going to stay in the game. And I understand that that may be a challenging question for a lot of you because you rely on the commerce that comes with patients and clients and customers coming into your operations. And perhaps like a lot of businesses, that has not been able to happen for some time. So whether or not you're taking advantage of the government assistance or you have savings or some other avenue in order to survive, you get to ask yourself as a leader, do I have what it takes to actually stay in the game? This is a question of resilience and motivation and flat out hard work because this is not easy. And once you decide for yourself that you're going to stay in the game, the next question is, what is my vision for my business on day one after this is over? Because the definition of success that you had for 2020 when you started the year in January, it's possible that that definition of success is long gone. And the sooner that we recognize that reality is the sooner that we can get on with grieving and mourning the loss of that definition of success. And yet the silver lining is you get to decide, you get to define what success looks like on day one when this is over. Vision answers the question, where will you be out into the future? And so you get the opportunity today, literally right when this is over, to take pen to paper and write out your vision for what you want your organization to look like on day one when this is over, which should operate to motivate you because there is work to do in order to ready your business for the fulfillment of that particular vision. So I want to give you a simple 3-part framework for you to use your COVID time wisely to envision or to vision your business for the future. So it comes in 3 words. The first is to reflect. The second one is to reimagine. And the third is to reset. So I'm going to come back to those 3, but that's the 3-part framework. The first one is to review your business. And when you review your business, you're going to find a lot that you really like because you were successful before the pandemic. And so let's say that 90% of your business you want to reaffirm so that you can continue to do those things after the pandemic is over. So that's great. Your review has allowed you to reaffirm 90% of your business or 80% of your business. But then the question is, well, what about that 10% of my business that is not really humming or it wasn't really exactly the way that I wanted it pre-pandemic? This is part 2 of the framework where you get to reimagine that part of your business. And when you literally say, what if I were to change that part of my business? And you literally, like I just did, sort of look up into the clouds and sort of wonder what it could be, that 10% or 20% that you could reimagine, because necessity is the mother of invention. And when you start reimagining that aspect of your business, chances are good that you will come up with some reinvention opportunities. You will absolutely be able to reinvent that aspect of your business, which sets you up for phase 3 of the framework, which is for you to be able to hit the reset button. So at some point, depending on the state or the region or the city, you're going to be able to reopen for business. And because you've reaffirmed what is great about your business and you have reinvented that which you want to, reimagine, so you've reinvented it, you now can hit the reset button and you can reposition yourself for success into the future. Because right now, we don't know what that opportunity is. We're not able to define it, but historically speaking, we know it is going to be there. Now, I recognize that what I just put before you is a challenge because it requires time. And the great brand promise of the pandemic is that we were going to have all of this time. In fact, the average American is streaming X number of hours of media every day. Any guess? 8 hours a day. Not for you, the leader. This is not a snow day for you. This is about survival. And what we're suggesting through this framework is that this is about success on the other side of this pandemic. So this is not about you streaming 8 hours of media every day. This is about you carving out the time. But if the pandemic does not offer us time, the pandemic's just a liar. It promised us all this time, but you have people living in your house that have to eat 3 meals a day, who dirty dishes, that have to get those cleaned, and all the other things that have sucked up your time. When are you going to spend time working on your business to review and to reinvent and to reset? Well, it's just like when you were pre-pandemic. You didn't have enough time to work on your business then. This is going to require voluntary accountability and self-discipline. But because you started this business, or because you're running this business, or because you care about this business as a leader, you will have the motivation of your vision to actually spend time on it. I recommend 15 to 20% of your week inside the pandemic to actually work on your business. The reason that I feel so passionately about this is because I believe that there is something that is yet undefined in the nomenclature of the leadership world. But you're going to hear it from me first. It's called pandemic regret. We're all going to be watching TV sometime in October, and the news media is going to be looking for any spotlight in the business world that they're going to be able to find. And they're going to come across a med spa somewhere in a state, and they're going to be talking to the owner. And they're going to say, my goodness, you rehired everybody, and you're actually experiencing 25% growth. What did you do? And that leader with the microphone shoved in her face is basically going to say, well, back in the pandemic, I didn't have much time, but I chose to use my time to review my business so that I could actually reaffirm that which was good. And then I reimagined those elements of my business that needed a little extra thinking, and I reinvented my products and my services and the way that I did my business, which allowed me, when day one of this being over came, I could reset and I was properly positioned. And about 10% of you that are watching this are going to be in the company of that leader, and you're going to say, yeah, go girl, you did it, because you experienced the same thing because you used your pandemic time well. And the other 90% are immediately going to, in their gut, have what they've never felt before, which is a feeling of pandemic regret, because they're like, dang, I didn't actually use my time well. There were plenty of excuses as to why, and they were really good excuses, but they were excuses nonetheless. And so this is about you being in that 10% club to lead your organization well, not in October, when it will be easy to succeed, but in the pandemic where you have the opportunity to do the things that are necessary so that when day one that this is over, you can hit the ground running faster than anybody else in your peer group, and you can strengthen your relationships with your clients, and you can actually take market share and succeed to the point that you may end the year in a place that's even better than what you had envisioned in January. So hopefully this is helpful, and I appreciate Michael and Brad inviting me again to come speak to you. Let them know if there's more that you're interested in so that I can continue to support you. Otherwise, you're doing a great job, even if you don't feel like it, because feelings are real. They just don't always tell us the truth. So look for the truth of what you're doing well and continue to persevere. Michael?
Thank you. Yeah, so Robin would know this because we actually went to college together, but I actually experienced pandemic regret even before it was a thing. We called it procrastination when I was in college. So I totally get what that feeling would be. And so hopefully, thankfully, with your help, Brad and I and the rest of our team at ByrdAdatto have been turning into the pandemic and not watching record levels of Netflix. But it is so encouraging to hear you talk and to hear, and I know Brad and I are encouraged when we talk to our clients and see them fighting, for their business, and not just grasping, but really proactively fighting. And so hopefully this will help give them a little bit of structure and clarity. And as always, grateful to have you on.
You bet. Happy to help. I'm on a mission to help you leaders, that small percentage of leaders who's up for the challenge of actually making a significant difference in the world right where you are. And so your clients are doing exactly that. And it is the small businesses in our country that will pull us out of this recession. And so I'm just grateful for the hard work that you're doing to support them, and grateful for the work that they're doing in their communities around the country.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thanks again, Rob. Always appreciate your time, your leadership, and your friendship. So thanks again for joining us.
You bet. Thanks for having me.